Something wonderful happens in the thick of things when you have an embodiment practice. Something wonderful begins to happen, which is that you create more space between your perception of things and your sensing of things. You can pull these things apart. This year, I've been doing some miraculous work around cravings and handling the sensation of craving. First, it was food, salty, crunchy snacks, and sugar. But then when I got a handle on the food, or got to a certain point with the food, I saw my craving impulse just scamper into a different quadrant. So, fine, it's not food now. Now it's compulsively checking analytics and email and social media and digital things. Now I'm doing that. Shut that down, then it goes to something else, binge watching or ruminating. So I identified eventually that I had this free-floating, grabby, graspy animal, metaphorically speaking, that was just scampering around. Wasn't about the food, really. I mean, kind of was, but kind of wasn't. It was this animal, this entity, this experience, this dynamic, this cravey, grabby, graspy experience that was landing, projecting on different surfaces, the food, the analytics, the worrying, or whatever it was. This compulsivity just had different places where it would just land. So it's been about 6 months because I started this inquiry in January. And where I am with it now, I'm wondering if I can even put this into words. I can. I'm that girl. I can do it. I'm the word person after all. What I'm learning now is that when I feel the cravey, grabby, graspy, jittery, jangly physical sensation coming on, not when I'm making meaning and saying what it means and telling a whole story about it, but when I feel it sensationally in my limbs, in my upper body, my shoulders, my limbs, my hands, when I feel that jittery, jangly feeling sensationally, what I'm learning to do is recognize that the sensation must be met with attention. This is so strange. Normally, if I had a craving for chips, my favorite chips, or trail mix, I used to love to eat trail mix, nuts and dried berries and chocolate, that little trail mix situation that a lot of these health food stores have. That became my go-to snack when I was transitioning out of like the hard stuff like Snickers bars and things like that. For a while, trail mix was my healthy alternative, and then it became a not healthy alternative. But what I used to do, was I used to have a craving. I used to have a craving for a thing, and my brain would just zero in on the thing that I was craving, and I would have to go get it, or I would fight and say, I'm not gonna go get it. I'm not gonna give in. And it was this whole orchestral, theatrical moment, dramatic moment. And that went on for decades, years and years and years. To be honest, sometimes I would decide I'm gonna go get my thing, and I would be so happy on the way to get the thing. I would be so happy, like I'm going to Whole Foods to get my chips that I like or whatever. Then I would get it, open the bag, and I would smell this kind of processed stale oil smell. And I'd be like, oh, this isn't what I thought it would be. But it was salty, crunchy, and oily. So I was like, eh. And I would just eat it. And on top of that, there would be this kind of bottomless pit type of feeling, like it didn't always satisfy me. So the craving was a very slippery animal. What I started learning in 2026 was that instead of going to get the thing I was craving to satisfy the craving, I would feel the jittery, jangly, grabby, graspy feeling that the craving initiated in my body. And I began to train myself to meet the feeling with my attention. So it was almost like I took a plug. It was almost like there was a wire between a craving for chips and buying chips. And I unplugged the wire from that port and put it in a different port called attention to somatic sensation. I put it in another port called somatic awareness. I put it in another port called embodiment. And what started to happen was my choice to put my attention on the physicality of the craving softened, morphed, took the edge off the craving. And the craving intensity, the intensity of the craving started to die down. Now it's been about 6 months. So this happened in a kind of gradual way. This didn't happen overnight. Now what I'm noticing, because sometimes stress will trigger or trip off, I don't know what the right language is, a craving, a moment of craving. Stress can lead to a moment of craving for me. So what I'm noticing lately is an enhanced facility to feel the craving in my body, the sensations associated with craving, the sensations that I would describe as craving, feel them and drop my shoulders in that moment. Wow. Drop my shoulders, soften my jaw, breathe in that moment. And what happens is the craving, the experience, the physicality of the craving is diminished, dematerialized, decreased. It starts morphing. I'm not consciously aware of it. It just happens in my body. So I'm saying all this because I want to share that we're sensing things, and we're also talking about sensing things. And sometimes talking can get in the way. Sometimes it's very helpful because it lets us find our people like, hey, I'm doing this too. Or, oh, I heard you say that thing. I get it. I see you. I feel you. So that can be nice. Language can help us with community building. But with our own actual embodiment practice, language can often be a distraction. It's really hard, at least for me, I have found it really hard to let go of language because I want to document everything, explain everything, bottle it up, distribute it far and wide, and so on. And that's not the point of a lot of this. So I have found it helpful, which is why I started doing this about 1.5 years ago on my podcast, to stop talking about the thing primarily and to just invite people to do the thing. That's what I started doing 1.5 years ago on my podcast. I'm still talking a lot, but the episodes are short, and a chunk of the episodes are just inviting people to do things physically, like drop your shoulders, or to invite people to do things attentionally, like notice this, notice that, notice this. That is the purpose and point of our time together. That's it. This is going to get very interesting for all of us because this flesh body is a realm that we are just beginning to, that's not true. There have been humans who have been mastering these elements for a long, long time. Anyway, as far as modern life goes, these bodies are the source and site of a certain kind of knowing. And in this context of AI this and AI that, I believe that embodiment will become a very important conversation and will become a much more common conversation in the next several years. That's my prediction. So let's get started now. Thank you for being with me for a few moments of your day. I am Bridget. I am an embodiment coach and teacher. You can work with me one-on-one. Look at the description under this video for a link to my coaching page. You can check in every week on my podcast to do your embodiment practice with me. A fresh new episode every week where we just do the thing. We just drop our shoulders, wiggle the toes, and say, oh, right, I'm here. I'm a person. I exist right now in real time. Okay, good. And then we go on with the rest of our day. So that happens. And I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.